All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Franks. I'm the Executive Vice President of Market America and longtime unfranchised owner. And what a night we have. I'm so excited to have two of our superstars with us tonight, hitting a very important topic, and that is building international using technology and Zoom. But most important, isn't it beautiful that we have a global company that we can expand in all directions, and it's only beginning. So I am very pleased to introduce this couple because I have always been impressed with them. They're sort of like always looking good and very prim and proper, professional, just awesome, but they're always laughing at the same time. So that's a good thing. But Emily Cheng and Ted Chou, they are this beautiful couple. They are executive field vice presidents that have exceeded 45,000 US in a 4-week pay cycle and on their way to the next level. And I found it very interesting when I learned about their background in the food industry. And then talking to James and Marion, their sponsors, and they were responsible of introducing the program to them. I find them absolutely amazing. Now, the interesting thing everybody should understand is that they came into the business and they were talking about maybe we'll take advantage of potential tax advantages. And so we'll move that way and we'll see what happens. And sure enough, bang, one of the most impressive leaders that this company has ever put out. Welcome, Emily. Welcome, Ted. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Good. So tell me, before I turn you loose to make this happen, I guess I'm going to ask each of you, what's a memorable experience, Emily, for you so far along this journey with Market America? Something that sticks out.
Oh, the second that I signed the contract, the application form, that was over about 20 years ago. It was a magic moment for me. I did not turn down the opportunity without knowing the potential, though.
Fantastic. And Ted, how about you?
Well, Dennis, to be honest with you, even though I'm an engineer, I really didn't get it in the first couple of times when we were exposed to this unfranchised concept. So not only until that Emily asked me to attend the conference with her, at the convention with her, it was really at that convention, and I saw JR talking about his magic moment, how challenges it was and how difficult it was to really trying to get the Market America going. I was so moved and touched by that presentation. That's actually where I decided to say, okay, Emily, I'm gonna help you out along the way because she's the one saw this.
So Emily, you recognize an amazing experience for sure.
Yeah,
so,
I had the vision.
Yeah, and your vision has become a reality. And I've got to tell you what, just to help Ted, JR mesmerized me too when I got in front of him because it was a long process, and until I finally met him and listened to what he had to say, it was very special. Well, listen, I'm not going to hold you back because you have a beautiful presentation and everybody wants to hear this. So go ahead, take it away. I'm going to just sit here and listen and learn from you, and I'll look forward to hearing throughout the show.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Well, good evening. If you are in the States or Canada, or if you plug it in from Asia Pacific country, then I should say good morning, right? And I don't know anybody from UK. It's getting very late over there. But the bottom line is shop.com, the Market America world is really, really big in a way. We cover a lot of areas, right? So as everyone knows that we are indeed a global company. We all not only operated in North America, in Europe, and quite a few countries in Asia, plus quite a few emerging market as well, right? But the beautiful things about our system, shop.com, is that everyone, I repeat, everyone can build the business internationally, because the system is prepared for that. And over the years, I know a lot of our partners, and I know a lot of people when they're trying to build this business to get the residual income. And one of their goals, they always said, hey, I would love to travel, right? And yes, of course, once you have enough financial resources, everyone enjoy traveling. And they would travel with their loved one, their family, or partner. But to me, what would be an even better way, in my opinion, is to, while you are traveling and also building the shop.com business, right? So if you want to, travel to Europe, you can definitely go to, London's and other places. What a beautiful, London eyes, right? And then if you're interested going into Asia, we have quite a few places that you can try, and then you can see, you have a beautiful, harbor in Sydney. You can go to Garden City in Melbourne, or Singapore, Hong Kong, and a beautiful Taipei, Taiwan. That's where we are from, and I definitely encourage you to visit that beautiful island whenever you have a chance. And of course, the most recent addition of our market country, Malaysia, and again, is a beautiful country. Emily and I started our business in US, Los Angeles, about 20 years ago. As Dennis said, we were initially attracted by the wonderful products because Emily used to be a food scientist. So she's always big on the supplement nutrition stuff. But we're also interested in the potential tax benefit this business provide. So we decided to give it a try. And luckily that in 2 to 3 years time, we were able to build a solid income from that. In fact, actually, I still remember the day that the 1 week that Emily received the check, and all of a sudden realized that this weekly check from our part-time business, Market America, exceeded her, bi-weekly check, which she net pay, which she got a very good degree working in a major corporation as a manager. The very next day, she did not have the energy to go to work anymore. True story. And that's actually, so she resigned accordingly, became a full-time mom, taking care of our 2 young kids at the time, was still very young. And for that, I think that had a tremendous positive impact, especially during the years they were growing up, that Emily was able to full-time attend to their needs. So we continue to actually build a business on a part-time basis. Only about 2 years ago, I also took an early retirement from my engineering careers. Today, we really, not only have the financial independence, but also the time freedom. And that's a beautiful thing, especially in today's world. And then 2 years into the Market America, actually, the company opened up the real overseas market, Australia. And a lot of people are excited at the time. And to be honest with you, at the time that we didn't know anybody in Australia, and it is very, very far down under from the US. And at that time, we still had our full-time job. And so we had a pretty okay, salary. Plus, at the time, just on a part-time basis, I think we're making maybe $6,000 to $7,000 every month, just in a short 2 years. And I just feel that there's no need to go over there. But our senior partner kept talking to us, and our partner actually kept talking to us and talked about how important that we should be there. So, I guess 7 people, 7 times. Eventually, I guess that indeed that had an impact on us. So we actually almost at the last minute decide to join the Market Australia development team. So some of us, we went there. Once we landed, we tried to talk to anybody we could. We knocked on people's door. I mean, some people had some contact. You remember, this was back in 2002. Even cell phone wasn't that popular at the time, right? So you still do it that way. So some people had a contact. Few of us, we just went in based on the belief and enthusiasm. So we tried to talk to anybody we could. We went into store trying to talk to the store owner, the manager or salesperson. I remember we prepared a flyer, and in Sydney, one of the major boulevard, a few of us pass out the flyer, basically saying that a wonderful U.S. product brokerage company coming here looking for partner working with us. And we even put an advertisement and trying to hit more people, attract more people, talking to us. And then we travel a few more cities in that intense, short 2 weeks, everybody helping each other. And then the end of 2 weeks, when 17 of us flew out of Australia, we sponsored 34 people. And that was actually an amazing trip. We not only have a stronger belief that a franchise system will work in a foreign country, but the team actually grow out of this bonded much better. And then most importantly, that each one of us, that we feel more comfortable about ourselves in terms of develop this business in a country that is far from where we live. So once we came back, we got so excited, and we say, hey, we can do that. Why don't we try the country just next door, which is Canada? So a few of us had the courage to went in, that we went to, house to house and talking to people on coffee shop after coffee shop. We had a great time, and really it's a blast. And then a few years later that, Market Taiwan opened, and of course we are from there. So, but that's really the first time that I totally understand the power of our own franchise system, because not only the UFO from US and Canada flew in, but people also from Australia flew in to Taiwan trying to develop the market. And I still remember the day when the office opened, and the office is in a high rise in one of the best areas in Taipei. And when we trying to submit the application form, it was still a paper form back in 2005. We couldn't get in because there are hundreds of people packed the office, and then we were told to actually go down through the stairways, all the way, I heard, down to the lobby. It was amazing a day. In fact, it was one of my magic moments, and somebody took a shot at me, and turned out that Market Taiwan is indeed one of the best market in the shop.com world. And I think it's back in 2007, Market Hong Kong opened. Again, we didn't know anybody in Hong Kong. We couldn't even speak the local dialogue, Cantonese. But at this time, it became automatic for us. So we just went in and talked, to anybody, again, similar things that Emily and I went to, salon and trying to develop this and ask question, ask direction. But anyway, we're just trying to engage people and make things happen, right? And then a few years later, Singapore opened. What a beautiful country, beautiful city, and beautiful people. And then I think only about a little bit more than 2 years ago, Malaysia opened, and we and our team went in, and it turned out to be a very successful country as well. But and not just only us, there are actually quite a few UFO along the way went through exactly or similar paths and then take on the challenges, right? And everyone in this platform right now, that we are all entrepreneur, right? Shop.com system is to provide an entrepreneur, whoever wants to make a financial independence and making the residual income. You could have many different definitions on entrepreneur, but to me is fairly simple. Entrepreneur is to make things happen, right? Building internationally may sound daunting to a lot of people, but to be honest with you, that as long as you have a determination, that you can make a commitment, and then you focus on it, I guarantee you anyone can accomplish the same thing or even better. Honestly, that's from there. And of course, when you develop an international market, there are certain advantages in my views. First of all, whenever there's a new market open or relatively new market still under, being developed, the company has always done extensive research to make sure that in that particular country there are strong demands, right? Whether our product has already been sold there locally, there are a lot of preferred customer or the internet usage and so forth. So there is a strong demand for sure, right? And I guess, but unfortunately, I guess because of the idea for a lot of people to develop internationally and then thought about a travel or distance, and not a whole lot of people would consider that. Therefore, I guess from a different perspective, you know, one coin always has two sides. And unfortunately, there are less competition when there's a new market, opens, right? And and then lastly, I noticed over the years that whenever we try to develop, the leader, especially local leader, I guess, we all understand that the senior partner cannot be there all the time. And then due to the distance, due to the time zone and whatever, a lot of them take the initiatives to look for answer. A lot of them taking the step to try different things anyways, right? And the best way in Market America is, as people said, that imperfect action is better than the perfect inactions, right? So the local leader, I tend to find out they always try to do a little bit more on their own, therefore, resulted in a faster growth, right? But of course, international market has its own challenges as well, right? And then first of all, the cultural differences. Inevitably that people live in different country, gonna have different habits, different views, even different body languages for certain different things. It's interesting, I found out sometimes even if we speak the same language, and just the fact that geographically we live in a different place, and then indeed, there's still quite a clear differences in terms of, view on certain things. So cultural differences, you definitely need to respect that. And then the second thing is, of course, the distance and time zone that everybody understand that. I live in LA. The fact that for us, LA travel to Malaysia, it's essentially a full day, 24 hours effort. And then if you live in East Coast, and then that you gotta add another 5-6 hours easy, right? So sometimes could be exhausting. And of course, because of the time zone difference, you just gotta work it out. And of course, when you're talking about developing internationally, Emily and I built it in a kind of old-fashioned way, and we enjoy travels anyway. So usually we travel through there, and then because of the international travel there, and you have to stay in this hotel and other expenses, therefore time and money is a little bit, bigger than you try to develop local. And then lastly, because of the relatively new markets, sometimes there's a limited GNTSS, or depending on your potential partner or your team, they may not have GNTSS. Therefore, you have to really rely on yourself and your team to nurture those leader from there. I'll turn it to Emily.
Okay. Speaking about, so to speak, prerequisite for opening up international markets. In fact, there's not much difference compared with international markets versus domestic markets. Essentially, we're working on the same MPCP and it's the same unfranchised business system. However, if the more equipped you are, the better chance to be successful. Simply because once you're overseas, the team kind of spreads out. Well, first of all, not everyone will go overseas. Before I'm talking about the old times. The teams pretty much spread it out. So if you operate your business based on a high level of dependency, then all of a sudden you'll find it's hard to find your uplines because maybe they're your senior partners, maybe they are working on their own possibilities. So in other words, how well we can perform basic 5, how well I can do my retail, how well I can do prospecting, how well I can do the business starting from A to Z. That's the bottom line. Not only you to operate on an individual basis. Once we have new team members, how well I can coach them, how well I can train them, how well I can coach across the globe, dealing with time differences. I remember back in the old times, just to call somebody, to catch someone who's, when they are available to talk, it could be 10 times a phone call until you can finally get able to talk to them. Besides your individual preparedness, how strong our team is, how collaboratively that our team can work together, whether my left organization can work with my right ones, or whether our team is equipped with different majors. We have product experts, we have TLS experts, we have motive experts. So our team is well-rounded. That's all about the preparedness that we can do. In terms of how to prepare as a team for international markets, essentially, it's, again, I want to just reemphasize, it's the same as we do domestic markets. But to get a possibility list or product list is very important, because back in the old times, you spent lots of money and time to travel to a new market. If you only start to get your possibility list there, then you're wasting time. So before we go, we do a combination meeting or a cross-pollination meeting in our team. Whoever has contacts in that new market would be on our possibility list. I remember back in 2002 when we decided to go to Australia, we did not know anyone there. Yet we started to ask people around, our friends, who knows anyone there. It just happened to be one of Ted's colleagues had family members there, right? And they became our possibility list. Also, for our core team members, of course, we need to have planning meetings. Which cities are we going to tackle first? For example, Australia back 18 years ago, whether we want to go Sydney or Melbourne or Perth, or whether we want to go to Hong Kong or not, or Taiwan, is it Northern Taiwan or Southern Taiwan, or where we have the most possibility list, and which city we have the most contacts at. At the same time, back in the old times, we didn't have all those internet online tools. Once you are there, that means you're not here. You can only at one place at one time. So local markets also needs to be taken care of. So leaders, how can we take turns to go? For example, I remember back in the old times, we went to Australia. We pretty much had a rotational plan, so to speak. And two of us would go for 3 weeks, and other leaders will stay in local market. So that's also an important part that we need to be, and that needs to be planned. Once we have a plan, and then we're ready to go, right? And once we get there, it depends on, again, your preparedness and your luck and how you do it, and also depends on the market. We'll have possibilities, we'll have prospects, and we'll have new UFOs. Very important, we need to know the picture of the entire franchise operation system should be always in our brand. This is our picture. So how we leverage, once we have new members, we bring them to the system. If the GMT is, back in the early days, if the GMT as a system is not available, how can we use our team's efforts to have sort of a semi or preliminary GMT as a system to train them? How can we utilize different majors in our teams to provide extensive product training to our members? how can I tell from all new UFOs in that new market, who's the one that's going to jump to the next pin level? We all know 80% of the members could not be, maybe not ready to go, not so-called go now. Maybe only 20% of them are go now. I mean, who's the next go now? Who's going to jump pin level? So once we identify them, the new emerging leaders, how can we support customized follow-up, customized training, dealing with time difference, schedule difference, and all that. So that, of course, just the same as our domestic product, domestic markets, it is a continuous improvement process. We always need, back in our back office, we have all sorts of reports that enabled us to know how our team is doing. Once we have done the measurement, we monitor, and we can implement, adjust a new initiatives to improve. Well, no one would know this coronavirus pandemic, this terrible outbreak. Although it has impact over 200 countries, and most governments just meant to put a pause button on the country. However, for a lot of people, it could mean a stop or shut down for a longer period of time, because people are losing jobs. Devastating business owners are closing down their business. The impact not on our daily lives, but also it puts tremendous impact on the economy. It could be even bigger, much bigger than the Great Depression. And domestically, I think we've read the jobless rate, unemployment rate could be as high as 13% or even higher. So people are looking for hopes. People are looking for opportunities. With our shop.com essential business model, we do not only provide health, we can also provide people hopes and possibly wealth. So right now, I want to emphasize that please, with this blessed business opportunity on hand, we should not take this for granted. At this time, most people are being paused or stopped. We can still continue to go, and we have this gold mine within our hand. So this right now definitely is the best time to grow internationally as well as domestically. And I know, I'm sure most of you remember back in August, our international convention, the companies have such a vision to implement this powerful tool, this Zoom. We only need to pay $9.99 and we get this entire meeting package. And I just cannot think of a day not using Zoom, right? I could have I think the record is like 8 Zoom meetings a day. With this, the entire world is within our fingertips, it's within reach. This just a picture shows how, you can see everybody there. We had Zoom meeting, room party, and room everything. The advantage of online is, of course, we all know there's no territorial boundaries, no travel time and expenses. That, I think for most of us, that puts on a huge investment to grow internationally. But now nobody expects you to travel there, okay? And you don't want to travel either. So that's no cost and easy to make appointments, even for your possibility of prospects. The pressure on them is even less. And in fact, a lot of them are looking for opportunities. So right now, I want to say this is the best time. It is the time. I mean, in terms of how do we do long distance prospecting? How do we invite them? The key is still the same. It's just short and sweet, get to the point, and just simply make an appointment. It's not to talk about what it is or how to run the business. it is to make an appointment. And if you like to use Line, use Line. If you WhatsApp, use WhatsApp. Whatever tool, social media that you have, just use it. And the whole purpose is to make an appointment, short and sweet. And Ted's going to show you.
Okay, I mean, thank you, Emily. I mean, she is absolutely right. I mean, all we need to do is exactly doing the same thing locally, domestically. It's just trying to make appointments, right? Especially now online, it makes no difference whether where's your friends or you know, prospects lives, right? So this is example actually. This is a guy, actually a friend living Malaysia. Actually, I just actually met him. Last time when I was there several months ago, we only have like a 5 minutes conversation. So we exchanged WhatsApp, and he actually the one sent me a text and asking me how, you know, we are doing in US, because just in the recent couple of weeks, the US virus situation seems to get worse and a lot faster, right? So he sent me a nice note. So I replied back to him and saying we're essentially in lockdown. So I asked him how is he doing in Malaysia, how is his company, and then he replied back to say, okay, Malaysia is also in lockdown, but he is out of jobs. And Emily just talking about it, just in the US alone, the past couple of weeks, I think it's more than 20 million people you know, out of job, and the federal government predict actually in the next few months, maybe up to 47-50 million people going to be out of job. And then remember, this is not only going to happen in US. In fact, worldwide, it's going to go through a similar process, right? So seeing that, so I just send him a chat back and basically say, oh, you know, sorry to hear that, and I'm sure he's gonna do fine, I mean, because of his talent and so forth. And then I went on to say, hey, I run an online business, is doing very well, and just wondering, you know, he is willing to evaluate it. He, you know, may be interested or not, right? Either way, it's just an opportunity to check in. And then lo and behold, he said yes. And then so I sent him a Zoom meeting, basically explaining, say, hey, I'm going to show him some chart. That's why I need to set up a Zoom meeting with him. So all we need to do is to set up a Zoom meeting through that, right? This is another example I sent out recently, and I sent out to one of my contacts to say, hey, how are you doing during this COVID special time? You know, I told you that I've been an online business, and our online business, especially on the health and nutrition product, is going through the roof. I mean, the sales is great, and looking for expansion. And your name came in, you know, to mind. And would you be interested to, you know, evaluate it? And then he asked me, what is the business, right? And typical response. So I basically just say, hey, I run a global product brokerage and internet company, but it's the best I can explain to you in details, right? And then because again, I need to set up some charts and so forth. So how about we go through a Zoom meeting I set up for that? And then he replied back, say yes. And that's just an example, but you know, not every response is gonna go your way, and sometimes they may not show interest, but that's fine. But that's exactly, each one of us, UFO, need to continue to do that. In fact, one of our group started out exactly this exercise. Every day they send out a certain number of invites, right? Whether they know them, know the contact or not, or they look for, you know, contact through social media, Facebook, looking for friends, contact, and they just send out the invite, right? You can draft up a nice, invitation, text, and something like that. In this group started out in maybe about 30-40 days, and they send out more than 1,500 invitation. And amazingly, there are more than 666 responses, and we set up 159 appointment. That's almost like every day it's like a 4 appointment, if not more, set up. And then the question is, do you want your group to have 4 additional appointment that you can show the plan, you can explain our wonderful concept or not, right? So just do whatever you need to do. This is the best time to connect and reconnect with all of your contact because everybody is stayed at home, right? So once you go through this, planning phase and trying to establish your prospect list, and you go out to try to make it happen, and then people will start to participate and become our team. And then you go into the next phase, which is exactly the same here, right? I mean, we always do counseling, coring, combination, and cross-pollinations, right? I call it 4C activities, right? But all these, productive online activity, now we do it through Zoom and other, channels, right? And but the focus still needs to be on resolve producing activity, whether it's retailing, whether it's prospecting and qualifying, through social media, Facebook, WeChat, whatever. But most importantly to me is able to set up the one-on-one, just some of the example I show you, set up the one-on-one, right? Or two-on-ones. Your team member can join you, and that's still very, very effective in terms of how to do that, right? And then you can do HBP and UBP and all these things. And then just in past couple of weeks, I have noticed that there are explosive growth in all kinds of Zoom online events. And I think that's across the line, across the team, that whether people are doing the, HBP, or they do the TLS, they do motive, they do, prospecting, qualifying, coaching, all kinds of activity. Because this is technology, the silo effect seems to be flattened completely, right? So we ourselves has noticed that there are tremendous participation in all of our events. For example, in the past, sometimes we have a what we call a training place, right? So people will come in, sometimes it's like 30, 40 people, and then it could be a lot more, 80 or to 100, but that's probably the max. But once we open up the Zoom coring, it turned out to be there are 300, 400, 500 people, and it seems to me 500 people is the norm. More and more meeting, just that people couldn't get in because of the popularity, and different country actually plugging in into a different one, and the team can meet that through Zoom much easier. In the past, it was spread out, so it's challenged to meet with each other. But with this technology, that everyone can meet, and especially now, the corporate, as Emily said, that we really appreciate the company had a vision, advanced planning to set up this online technology. So it seems to me that we transition through the on-site to online is really a seamless, operation. Although I know there are so many things behind the things being done, but look at this corporate international training for April. I'm sure more to come. But if you have prospect or friends in, whether they are in Australia, in Hong Kong, in Singapore, or Malaysia, or Taiwan, there are tons of UBP, Basic 5, ECCT, and NUOT, and plus all these corporate free training nowadays. Is really a good time that you think out of the local areas mindset and trying to expand internationally and saying, okay, where could I use these wonderful resources to build my teams, right? And as we said, online operation now is the trend, right? And because no one can go out anywhere, really, honestly, we should stay home, be safe. But I believe that down the road, eventually, sooner or later, we will be back to normal with our traditional on-site operation. But I believe this online technology, this operation, is going to be integrated as part of our overall operation. So we're going to have a new and powerful online and on-site combination model, which in turn will help each one of UFO us to develop our business, around the globe, right? So with that, I just want to kind of, in summary, that over the years that we personally feel that international expansion is really one of the best way to expand one's view, the horizon. You get to meet different people at a different country. You go to visit wonderful scenery, and it's really a great life experience in my opinions. And of course, when you're trying to work internationally, I mean, you have an opportunity to work with, learn from many successful UFO worldwide. I mean, a lot of people in the shop.com world, they all have a lot of very successful international expansion experience, and then which we can all learn from those people. And then we talked about there are definitely some attractive advantages on the international market. And personally, I think this is really one of the best way to grow quickly. Again, if you elevate yourself, taking up the challenges, and then you can definitely do that. And then online operation has significantly reduced the challenges the old-fashioned ways, and because now this is indeed one of the best time because people are looking for the opportunity, and people are staying at home. So most likely they have like 30 minutes or so to hear you out if you are willing to connect and reconnect and try your best to make the contacts. So with that, it kind of concluded our conversation. Let's see if there's any questions so far. I'm gonna stop sharing. It's the best time. It's the best time. Let me see if there's any question coming out of this. Let me see. Great info regarding the social media. Are you saying that we can set up the Facebook just to? Yeah, I mean, you set up the Facebook. I'm not.
Products has to be careful, right?
Share our. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it has to be careful. I mean, in the particular exercise that I mentioned, that we encourage we actually organize our team members to say, okay, let's do an exercise. It's like a call workshop type, right? When we encourage everybody send out a few contacts, whether you know them or not, right? If some people feel they have exhausted their contact, then we encourage them to go to different social media, and you can look for friends, and then some people are willing to send out the contact that way and get the response amazingly. That nowadays people will just see that and get back to you. Do you recommend this a new person, not activated yet? I would probably, everyone is different. I mean, in the past that the company has a kind of a generic rules, and that you should be really at least an EC, executive coordinator, which means that you have experience to sponsor somebody, you have experience to coach somebody, you have product sale experience, and all these. I mean, you basically have the package with you. So that's what I would recommend as well. But doesn't prevent you if you have the contact and name list, right? And then try to work with your senior partner. I mean, they may be able to, help you out. I'm sure actually they're more than willing to help you out if you have the name list. And then, then we can definitely figure out a way to do that. Okay, so let me see if there are more.
Where can we find events in different countries?
Where can we find event in different countries? Oh, I'm pretty sure right now it should be in the back office. If you look it into different countries, and then we have so many flags, right? Just go in there, check it out on each flags, and go to the back office and search for a meeting. And I actually, one of the slides I showed, the company really has organized a lot of international events. And then again, this is, I couldn't emphasize more, this is the best time to leverage the corporate effort, and I call it truly a global event now, right? Everybody can plug it in. It is really not country specific anymore.
I think there's an interesting question here: how to balance your local and international teams in terms of time and energy. But I have to say right now, with the current situation and the powerful tool Zoom that we have, you don't need to balance, because you just work on it all together. Because our meetings, like, everyone can join if their time allows, their schedule allows. You don't need to balance, because it's pretty much you work on all markets together at the same time. It's doable right now with current situation. So that's a great advantage right now.
Right. A lot of actually our event right now, we realize that we have actually, 6-7 different country UFO plugged in. So really, the platform is even. So I think again that's the best opportunity. So let's see if we can answer maybe one or two last questions. I know the time is almost up there. Is Market America convention in Greensboro in August postponed? I couldn't answer that question.
No,
that would be
I can help you out there. No, we're planning full speed ahead. We're planning to have our event and bigger than ever, working on our trade shows for Sunday. It should be a wonderful event. In the event that it doesn't work out, I'm sure we'll give you an updated message. But right now, it's funny. I told my team out in California to book their tickets now, airline tickets, because the rates are so good. And the airlines, even if they have to adjust them, there's no penalty. So again, we are planning to have our event as scheduled. And the other thing, Ted, Emily, working multiple countries at the same time, it's because of our systemization. Universally the way that we do that. So the training really helps there. But carry on. Yeah, we have another 5 minutes. Go right ahead.
Oh, okay. So let's see. We have more question here. How can I get them by using? So this is the question. Said I have an online question. I'm from Malaysia in Asia, but I have friends and relatives in Canada, UK, New Zealand, and Hong Kong. How can I get them to be the business partner? Oh, wonderful. You have so many contacts in so many different places. Again, this is best time. Why not just send them, hello message, just ask them how they are doing, and hopefully that the conversation will lead to that what you are doing, and share that your wonderful experience on the product. I mean, nowadays, everybody's need to take care our immune systems, right? And then go from there, or sharing the business opportunity. The more importantly is just try, that doesn't hurt, right? I mean, the name list sitting there, if you don't use it, it is not going to be helpful, right? Especially you have such, wonderful contact in different places. Don't waste it, especially during this time. So, okay, so, how about balance in the beginning of building up teams? Not quite sure this question, but I would assume
to the previous question.
I think it's referred to the previous question. I have a UFO in New Zealand. How would you advise UFO there to grow the business with GNTSS presence limited? We have quite a few emerging market, as you know, and this particular question is on New Zealand. We ourselves actually have some UFO in New Zealand as well, because of the limited GNTSS over there. So a lot of time that we will have to spend our own time or our team's time to nurture that. A lot of them they join simply, they enjoy the product line, and then some of them indeed try to develop the local market. But I know it's challenging, but we always encourage them to plug into the major event. We encourage actually all over the world, just not New Zealand, to all come to the major event. If they can come to the US, great. If they cannot, go to Taiwan or go to Australia. So that's the thing that, and hopefully more people will go in trying to develop that market. Indeed, it's a beautiful country. Hopefully, eventually we will formally open that up.
Well, with Zoom, there's no limitation, right?
Exactly.
The GMTSS, we have sort of global GMTS right now, and they can plug into JR's training.
Yes, actually they do. They have the best training in the corporate, right? They have every night.
It's not they don't have GMTSS. The fact is they have all the GMTSS all across the globe.
Yes, indeed, that's correct. That's correct.
I think it opens up everything now for our emerging markets to be able to have access to world training. The biggest thing from the emerging markets is they have to learn how to build via their global.shop.com because not all products are available from being shipped directly from their country. However, you know, it's important for New Zealand to know that if we can accomplish to get 500 orders that have come in, we can be able to move to another level too. And if we can get to 400 emerging market unfranchised owners, we can actually look to open up offices. So again, it's product first, then distribution, and then coming in to support the growth. But we're very excited, and thank you so much, Ted, Emily, for taking your time. You are truly experts in the field of international building and true examples for us here in the United States. I can't thank you enough for taking your time. Are there any final comments that you can share with everyone? Any final comments you might have?
Oh, this is the best time. This is the time.
Indeed. And thank you for inviting us. And it's our honor to
Yeah.
share our limited experience there. Thank you.
All right. Together we can accomplish more. One
Definitely.
team, one dream. All right.
Definitely. Thank you.
Good night. We appreciate you.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.